Hi guys, Jarrod here, and I'm wearing, you can't really see this, but it's my Xbox 360 launch t-shirt. They handed these out at launch for the Xbox 360 here in Montreal at a couple of locations. I picked this up at Future Shop, believe it or not. Anyways, yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the Xbox 360's my launch memories. And like I told you during the PlayStation 3 launch memories video, it might sound negative a little bit, but that's just the way these things are. It's weird, but in like the last couple of generations, my excitement level hasn't been too high. I've been getting less and less excited as time goes on. I'm actually gonna probably do another video talking about that and basically my feelings of this current, well, this new generation that begins as of filming this next Friday. So yeah, I don't know why. I have no idea why I've been getting less and less excited. But anyways, let's talk about the Xbox 360's launch memories. So I remember at that point in time, like right before the Xbox 360 hit, I was gaming on the PlayStation 2 like, well, everyone else, right? I mean, you had your GameCube and you had your Xbox, but realistically, what were you playing on those systems? You had like the big, exclusives for Microsoft was Halo and a few others. Nintendo obviously had all their first party stuff, but your bread and butter for everybody was on the PlayStation 2. You were playing your San Andreas, you were playing, just the countless other games that were exclusive to the platform. And so going into the Xbox 360, I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I had seen videos. There was Perfect Dark Zero that was coming out, and I was like, oh, that's going to be great, because I'm a big fan of Rare. I think what the Stamper Brothers did years ago, especially during the Nintendo era, was just amazing. And when I say Nintendo, I don't mean NES. I mean when they were partnered up with Nintendo, and we got so many hits. Like Donkey Kong Country remains one of my favorite games of all time. And so I was excited to see sort of like a fresh new take on Rare. I was like, this is going to be so exciting, But the more I would see about Perfect Dark Zero, I was just not overwhelmed. I was like, well, I mean, I understand it's a launch title, right? So launch titles aren't like, they don't indicate where the platform's going to go. I mean, like right now there's this whole big huge debate over Call of Duty Ghosts because it's running at 1080p on the PlayStation 4 and 720p on the Xbox One. But that means nothing in the greater scheme of things. That's day one. You got to give it a chance to get going. There's things like drivers that haven't been updated. The software inside is not, it's constantly moving. So the same deal was true back for the Xbox 360. And so when I saw these screenshots, and I don't even remember, yeah, video back then, sure, we had the internet. So yeah, I was just, I was like, it's all right. That's about how I felt. But I was excited to at least have the prospect that Rare was coming back. Like after they left Nintendo, they were bought out by Microsoft, and they made a couple of games on the Xbox. Conker's Bad Fur Day, the remix they did there, I really enjoyed that. There was like Grabbed by the Ghoulies, which was all right, I guess. It was nothing too special. So like for me, this was going to be it. And it's so funny because what ended up happening was I got the system from Future Shop, got this shirt, and which is like enormous on me, but whatever. And it's funny because the thing I remember most about launch was coming home, putting everything, together, pressing on the button on the controller, and loving the controller. I was like, wow, this thing rules. I was super, super impressed with the controller. Hardware-wise, I was like, it's okay. I don't know if you guys have been gaming long enough, but the original Xbox 360's dashboard didn't have all these avatars and things like that. It was like a blade sort of interface where you would like cycle through these different panels, if you will. And I was like, that's cool. Like that looked all right. It felt like a natural evolution of what we had on the original Xbox. But the thing was, I wasn't blown away. Like when I put Perfect Dark in, it was the first game I put in. Me and my brother, we were like, yeah, we were excited for it. But then like that, it just didn't have the same feel as we had when we played Halo, for example, and Halo 2. We just were like, I don't know. Both of us, we looked at each other and we're like, it's all right. That was it. That was like our very first impression of the Xbox 360. But it's funny because you look at that, you go back now, and YouTube was around then, so go and check out like some of the early footage from Perfect Dark Zero, and then compare it to like what we have now, and it's like, my goodness, it looks like almost two different systems. But it's funny because it wasn't Perfect Dark Zero that had any sort of impact on me. I know, like, some of you guys watching are probably like, "Oh, you're crazy! It was amazing," but that's just my opinion. Like for me, Perfect Dark Zero just didn't do it for me, and I ended up barely playing it. I finished the game, and then I put it down, and that was it. I never ever went back to it. However, I'm a very weird gamer in a lot of ways. I actually really enjoyed Kameo. Now, that might surprise people, but I don't know what it was. It had sort of that old Rare, like, feeling towards me. Like, I really enjoyed it. I'm one of the guys that love, like, Jet Force Gemini and titles like that Rare worked on during the N64 days. And so when I got Kameo, I was like, wow, like, this actually looks great. Like, there's a scene, I was trying to remember before this. I just don't remember the context. Like you're walking. I remember like a throne room or something like that, where you can take Kameo and just stand there, and position the camera angle so that there's like a sunbeam coming down, and you see like literally maybe, I don't know, 5,000 little particles just falling down, and that was the very first time I was like, wow, wow, and that's why I say I'm a weird gamer. It's things like that I noticed. Nobody probably ever noticed that. But for me, that was the first thing where I was like, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube cannot do that. Like that is strictly next gen. But that was it. Finished Kameo, had a lot of fun with Kameo. I mean, there were some problems and what have you. But I had a good time with Kameo. Like, I really did. That was my introduction into this current gen that's coming to an end. And it's funny because I went right back to the PlayStation 2 after that. And again, that's because there were just so many games. People really don't realize today when you talk to most gamers, they're just like, I'm playing this, that, on my PlayStation 3 or on my Xbox 360, and that's it. But back then, the PlayStation 2 was having like, I don't know, 25 titles released a week. Everything was exclusive pretty much. Like all your titles that, you would just take for granted or whatever were always on that platform. So, and especially like we had the site back then, so I was constantly, doing reviews and what have you for the PlayStation 2. It was always like, that was like the go-to for everyone. I'd come home from work and I'd have like, a stack of games that I had to review, and it kept going like that. So I didn't really get too involved in the Xbox 360 until, I don't remember the year, I could have done the research, but I prefer just doing these things spontaneous. But it was when Fight Night Round 3, I think, whatever the first one was that came out on the Xbox 360, that was it. That was the very first time where I was like, wow, like holy crap, like the way the skin moved and all that when you were fighting, there was no life bars and stuff. Like EA was confident enough that, our game is good enough as is. We don't need like health bars and all that. It's realistic enough that you'll know when you're getting beat the snot out of. And from that point forward, basically my gaming habits or whatever really transformed from PlayStation 2 all the time to merely hardcore into the Xbox 360. And then I never really looked back. Then it was like all the next gen stuff. Now I'm a retro gamer, so of course I was playing my older stuff, but it was primarily like that from that point forward, I was primarily, you know, on my day-to-day was next gen. And then, of course, when the PlayStation 3 came out and, you know, yada yada, that's the rest of it. But what's interesting, what people, so a lot of people just take for granted, was the fact that the Xbox 360 did a lot of things right from day one. They had the achievement system in place day one. And I remember me and a few friends who were like, oh, it's kind of neat. I didn't get hooked. I never got really hooked on it. There was a period where I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to try and catch up and do this, that, and the other thing. But I was never like some people. Some of my friends got hooked, like hooked. You should see their gamer scores. It's like, it's absurd how high it is. And like some people had the same thing happen with the PlayStation 3 when they introduced trophies later on. For me, trophies never did anything for me, mainly because I started with the Xbox 360, right? Because it came out first. So I was more into the achievements than I was into the trophies, but at the end of the day, today, I don't give a damn. Like, I don't even look at trophy lists and stuff like that at all anymore, or achievement lists or whatever. It's over. Like, that lasted for a few months, and that was pretty much the end of it for me. But that's okay. I mean, like, whatever. I can't remember what the party functions were. Some of you guys watching can fill me in. I don't remember exactly what the deal was with like party chats and stuff like that, if that was added later or right in the beginning. But either way, the network that Microsoft had was always fantastic. And even to this day, I mean, say what you will about the PlayStation Network moving forward, we'll see. But for me, there was never any real comparison between the Xbox Live and the PlayStation Network, mainly because I play a lot of single-player games, and like guys like Steven and some of my other friends are playing other games, and it was just so handy to be able to chat with one another while we were playing different games. And that was something that was just never really possible with the PlayStation Network as easily. Like, yes, you could send messages back and forth and stuff, but it just never felt as fluid as what we had with the Xbox 360. And so all of this stuff, like on day one, having a lot of these features and functions and stuff like that on day one was very, very impressive. Of course, as the system went on, you all know about the hardware issues, and that plagued everyone. I do not know a single person who still has a launch Xbox 360. And that really soured the experience for me, because I went through a lot of systems. I really enjoyed when they did their whole software revolution, where they introduced avatars and they just completely did away with the previous dashboard. That was amazing to me. That was the first time I had ever seen, well, I think that was the first time anyone had ever seen something like that on the console space, where basically the platform you bought back in 2005, today it's a completely different machine. Like, I mean, like everything about it looks completely different when you press that power button. And that's pretty amazing, because moving forward, it really makes you wonder, you know, the machines that we're going to buy as of next week, are they really even going to be anything like the machines that we could potentially buy in 2 years' time? It might be completely different, just like what happened with the Xbox 360. So that's it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Xbox 360, some of my launch memories, some of the fun times I had, like I say, with Kameo. Many people probably didn't expect that, and about the achievements and whatever. But what about you guys? What are some of your fond memories from around the time the Xbox 360 came out? And what are your thoughts on the platform as a whole? I'd love to hear from you and keep the conversation going here. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll be back soon with another video. Do